What should it profit a man if he gain the whole world and lose his own soul? What shall a man give in exchange for his soul? What does that mean? Is there anything in this world that's more important than my eternal soul? And the answer is no. Jesus Christ died that you and I might live and gain eternal life, because his grace and mercy went all the way to an old rugged cross where he died and paid the penalty for our sins. So if I am going to choose him, I will need to leave all of the things and the cares of this world behind, because one day he's coming back for his church, and I want to be in that number. Hello guys, welcome back to the channel. We're going to talk about Ford performance this afternoon, and here's the reason why. A few weeks back on one of the videos featuring some Maverick content, I did allude to the possibility of us going to a Maverick meet in the near future. Well, things kind of got behind. I've had a lot of things going on with my personal life that I had decided that I was not going to do the track attack with the Maverick this year. But things have changed. So we have decided to again do the Maverick, well, it's not a Maverick track attack, but it is the track attack at Dominion Raceway in Thornburg, Virginia. And a lot of people, have issues as far as wanting to or not wanting to drive their Mavericks in what is called a track attack. And I thought I might explain a few things about that. But before we go there, I wanted to just share with you guys on this afternoon my performance Ford background, because some of you who may have been not tuning into the channel from its beginning may have missed some of the vehicles that I did feature on here, as well as where I come from, what I've done, and why do I like performance. Well, so we'll go back somewhat to the beginning. We're going to try to give you as much background as we can, as quickly as we can. First of all, I come from a Ford family. My dad always had Ford and Lincoln vehicles. He did have a few duds here and there. My dad was one of those people who bought a AMC Pacer wagon, no less. So yeah, my dad was a Ford guy, but every now and then, even some of us will have a moment. So that's where my performance Ford background really came from. I had a dad who loved Ford vehicles. My very first vehicle was given to me from my aunt. It was a Mazda RX-2. Now, I wish I had that car right now, because a Mazda RX-2 is so rare and hard to find. If you can find one in decent shape, you'll pay a gold mine for it. But that Mazda RX-2 had a 2-rotor engine in it. It had twin distributors, a 4-barrel carburetor, and it was something in my automotive class. As a kid coming up in high school, probably at that time I was about 16 years old. All the guys were like, whoa, what in the world is that? Because none of them had any idea what a rotary engine was. Neither did I, honestly. And rotary engines were pretty new to the scene. And yeah, there are people who run those now, and they have gotten huge power gains turbocharging rotary engines. And yeah, it was one of those learning moments. My automotive instructor in high school, because I took auto mechanics 2 years in high school, yeah, we had a whole class pretty much on that rotary vehicle. But anyway, that's where it started. That thing, I'm telling you, it was my very first car, and that thing could rev to I want to say 9,000 RPMs. I mean, that rotary engine just can rev that high. And yeah, that was my first car. Never really did make it out on the road in that car. We ended up buying 2 of them because the windshield was broken, and we couldn't get a windshield for those cars because they were that not popular. They just weren't popular. So I bought an entire whole other car just for the windshield. And me and my dad were attempting to remove the windshield out of that car, ended up breaking the windshield in the car that we bought for the windshield, and someone ended up buying that car from me. So anyway, make a long story short, the next car that I got was when I got out of high school, bought a 68 Mustang that a young man had a small accident, whatever you want to call it. The driver's side, I believe, front fender, bumper, and just the unboltable parts had a little incident with a tree. But yeah, that was my first car, my first really performance car. 68 Mustang, had a 289 with a Torquer 4-barrel intake on it. It had headers, it had a Borg Warner T10 4-speed transmission. It had slot wheels on it already, and I took that car apart. It was pretty much my first build. We put new fenders, hood, all the stuff on it that we needed, and then I ended up selling that car because it was time for me to, my parents wanted me to be serious about not cars so much, but getting an education. So I started in community college, and at that time my mom and dad had separated, and my mom took me to a Ford dealership here where I live, and that's where I fell in love with my very first real performance car. And that car was a 1982 Mercury Capri 5-liter with the 4-speed transmission. It was the Black Magic edition, which it was black with the gold stripes, and I'll put up a picture. And that was my very first build. And I went to school at night, and I worked during the day at what we used to call a service station, where I could work on my car, pump gas, all those things, hone my mechanic skills that I had learned in high school. And yeah, that's what I did. And every dime that I had extra, other than paying for that car that my mom had co-signed for, I knew I had to make sure I made that payment. Mom made sure that I did too. And yeah, I would buy performance parts. I was the very first one in my entire area to put weld drag lights on one of those cars. I had ordered them special. We did the 5-lug conversion. That was when Ford Motorsport was just getting on ground. And then when the 5-lug axles came out, when the 85 cars came out, we switched over to 5-lug axles, and I was able to put those weld drag lights on it. And then eventually they came out with a 5-lug swap brake rotor assembly for the front. But yeah, that was my first car that I was able to build. It came with a 2-barrel. Back then, I think the horsepower rating was 164. And we're like, wow, 164 horsepower. And then the thing is, during that era was when we were going from carbureted vehicles heading towards fuel injection. And everybody said, man, you buy a new car, it ain't never going to be fast. And that was how I got my advantage, because all of my friends had 69 Camaros, 70 Mustangs, and things like that. And I bought this new car, which they knew didn't run. Well, I shocked them, because one of my friends' fathers ran a speed shop. And we went and we exchanged the 2-barrel intake out for a 4-barrel intake. We put I believe it was a 600 or 650 double pumper on there. I put a high energy 268H high energy cam in it, and lifters. What else did we do? We put hooker headers, and eventually, after I started doing a little bit of street racing, I'm not condoning street racing. I'm not saying that that's something that you should do. Matter of fact, with all the no prep races that they have nowadays and the track, track days that they have at the strip, there's no reason for you to race on the street. So yeah, during that time, yes, I did some street racing. Not saying I'm proud of it, but that's what I did, and I'm just just saying. But nevertheless, yeah, we used to do those things, and no one ever got hurt. There was never any crashes. And once I started doing that, people were getting their feelings hurt. I put 373 gears in it. This, I mean, I'm telling you, this was when this stuff was just coming out for those Mustang and Capris. Most people had the Mustang. I had something that was unique, which was the Capri, and we put the nitrous 125 shot plate system power. I think they call it a power shot system. I'm not remembering, but yeah, we put that nitrous bottle on there, and I hurt many feelings with that car. Eventually, I got married, was going to buy my first house, and that's where that car went. I sold that car to buy my very first house. But yeah, that's how I got my start, just enjoying fast cars. So it took a while. Once I got married, had kids, and all those things came first. I ended up buying I did have a Maverick, the car Maverick, with a 289, and it was not fast. It was one of the slowest cars I think I ever had. Thought to build that. I bought an 86 Mustang GT. Never got the funds, when you're young and you're in school and you have kids and all those things. Never did get the money to put that car together. End up selling the 86 GT. After that, life happened. Some things happened in my personal life, and I ended up moving away for a while, and I ended up eventually buying an 89 Mustang GT. And I traded a Ford Escort for that car. And that 89 Mustang GT kind of got my performance blood racing a bit. Never did get to do anything to that car, but it was a really nice car. I bought that car, 89 GT. It was white with the gray silver down the bottom with the red stripe. It had the red interior, and at that time, red interior was cool. And now it's kind of coming back. But yeah, we had that car for a bit. I did buy a 80, I want to say an 83 or 86, I can't remember, Thunderbird, which I intended to put an engine in that. I was going to fix that up. Never did do that. I think we put for performance saline wheels on that car, and it looked really cool, but it was slow. It had a V6 in it. So we kind of took a hiatus from the performance scene for a while, and then after my twins were born, we moved into the house that we are now in, and that's where the builds really began. I got the 92 Mustang LX that you see sometimes pictured in my garage, and that became a 10-year project. I spent way more money on that vehicle than I certainly had intended to, and it was a real pro street car with a turbo and all that kind of stuff. I've been over that before. You can go back at some of the earlier videos, and I do talk about that car. It was had a 4.6 Cobra engine in it, 76 millimeter turbo, built C4 transmission. It had everything custom built, turbo system, intercooler. fuel cell, roll cage, tubbed, 31 by 18 and a half on the back. Had a parachute, now all that on it. Never did get it to the track. I think my wife and myself were so disgusted with me for spending that much money on that car. I ended up driving it to a few car shows, and I will show you in this video some of the trophies that we got, and maybe a picture or two of that car at one of the shows. And I recently did have a chance to buy that car back, but I just chose not to go backward, but forward. So now we have arrived at almost where we are now. I sold that 92 LX, and I bought the I bought a 2016 Mustang GT Performance Pack, which I believe is in one of the videos. I'll show you where, like my journey, and you'll see that car. Yeah, we put wheels on that car, lowered it, put a spoiler on it. I did the stripes on it. I took it to car shows. And won a trophy at the car show with that car as well. I decided to sell that car, get out of performance. Sometimes I had these points in life where I said, you know what, I can't afford to do what I want to do, so I'm just not going to do anything. And I did some fishing for a while. Bought a couple of big trucks, Lincoln Mark LT pickup. I bought I've had two Ford Expeditions, and then I had some very good things happen to me. I did enter a contest and won a Escalade, and I sold that to a Cadillac dealership here locally, and that started me back on the performance market again, because when I sold that vehicle, that's when I bought a car that has been featured on this channel, the 2021 Mach 1. That, and I'll say it and I'll say it again, I love that car. That car was amazing. It had the Magna Ride, it had the 6-speed, the really nice butter silk smooth shifting GT 350 6-speed in that car. It had the ambient lighting, it had the puddle lamps, it had all of that stuff on it. And we were able, because we purchased that car, my wife and I were able to attend the Track Attack down in Charlotte, North Carolina. And I was certainly reintroduced to the feeling of speed and how I love to drive fast. And that taught me a lot about my driving skills. We attended the Track Attack down in Charlotte, North Carolina. A lot of the folks who watched the channel during that time, quite a few of the people already knew me before we got to the Track Attack. So they were meeting me for the first time. And the channel was doing not great, but it was doing okay. It was doing, we're getting a few views, not as many as I would have hoped or have thought. And so we did the Track Attack. The Mach 1, as much as I loved it, it was costing me a lot of money to sit in my garage because I had a daily driver. The Mach 1 would get driven sporadically, not very much. And I just felt like it was just too expensive a car to just sit in the garage and do nothing. And that's what it was. I was, I don't know, I just felt like I needed to sell it. So the Mach 1 went up for sale. I sold it during the post-COVID era, or as we were heading toward the post-COVID era, and that's when cars were being sold for way more than they were worth. I ended up selling it for way more than what I paid for it. Then I bought the 66 Ford Fairlane. I thought I could go back in time and relive some of those high school dreams. I bought the 66 Fairlane to do a resto mod project. Never. I put the wheels and tires on that car, and I could not. My brother and I looked at the car, and it was such an original car that I just decided I cannot turn this beautiful 66 original car into a resto mod. I just couldn't bring myself to modify it. So I ended up selling the 66 Ford Fairlane to a gentleman up in Boston, somewhere up north. And he came down, looked at the car, loved the car, had a transport come and get it. Yeah, that car was an original 66 289 C4 car. It had the original spare in the trunk still. I thought I would get away from performance for a while, take a break as I prepare for retirement, and then now we are pretty much up to date. The thing that happened that I was not expecting, during the time that I bought the Mach 1, I still needed a daily driver. I was driving a 2011 Ford Expedition. Big truck. Love the truck. Had everything in it. Called my family in it. But then my family moved away. My kids went to school, and I said, why am I driving an Expedition every day to work and leaving the Mach 1 in the garage? So I had talked to one of the dealers that I deal with, and he was telling me about the Ford Maverick. And that's how we have arrived where we are. I did a video on picking up the Ford Maverick. I fell in love with the Ford Maverick. I left that Expedition at that dealership that day, and life has never been the same. I did a small video of picking up the Ford Maverick. My YouTube channel skyrocketed in viewerships and likes, subscribing, all that. And this channel was created because of the Ford Maverick. I couldn't believe it. It just boggled my mind that people did not want to watch footage and stuff on the Ford, the Mustang Mach 1. They wanted to see this new little pickup. And I fell in love with the pickup because it does so many things well. The Maverick stayed and the Mach 1 left. So some of the people who tuned in for Mach 1 content got a little, they didn't want to, see Maverick stuff. But the Maverick stuff drove the channel. Every time I did something to or in the Maverick, it has done well. And that is still the case. I have a Mustang coupe that is featured on this channel that we do stuff on all the time. Those videos do very little. A minimal audience watches the Fox Body Mustang build. But I don't do once I got over the fact that if I wanted to be a full-time YouTuber, yeah, I could have done that and just continued to modify the Maverick and all those type things. But time and the complications of my life don't allow me to do that. I am a minister, and first and foremost, I must serve the Lord, and I keep all of those things first. So the stuff that I do on YouTube now is specifically and absolutely just what I do for fun. So now we are up to the present. We are going to the Maverick Track Attack on April the 28th. I believe the track opens at 4 p.m. and the course will start at 4:30 p.m. They will take us in, and there is about a 30 to 45 minute class that gets you prepared to drive on the track. After that, we will be on the track and we will have a great time. Last year we went We had a meetup before the track attack last year. We had a few people show up at the track attack. Somehow the traffic situation where I live at, close to in between in between DC and Richmond, some weekends, and we were having construction on the highway. A lot of people that were coming to the Maverick meet did not make it. And then we only had one other guy who was brave enough to do the track attack with me. Now, I've been to a track attack with the Mach 1. That was my first track attack with the Maverick. The Maverick is a very capable vehicle. And for you guys who have lowered Mavericks and are tired of hearing people say, I don't know why you guys lower those things, so all you do is hit potholes. I get that. But my Maverick, I don't know about anybody else, my Maverick is not low enough to cause any instances or times where I feel like it's just too low. No, I drive my Maverick every day. I have my family in it. We've traveled from here in Virginia to Pennsylvania. We've driven down to Atlanta, Georgia, and the Maverick handled the trip expertly. And it gets great gas mileage, anywhere between 33 and I've gotten as high as 37 miles to the gallon on one trip. But yeah, that's where we are. We are doing the track attack. I know it was kind of short notice this year because we had a lot of stuff going on. And one of the guys who wants to do the track attack as well, he had some stuff going on. So I kind of made a decision somewhat. It's not really last minute for me, but for you guys who may have wanted to participate, it may be a little last minute. But we are going to the track attack April the 28th. So if you want to come, if you want to participate, you can certainly sign in at DominionRaceway.com. Go to the track attack and it will allow you to register your vehicle. There's no helmet required. You don't have to have any specific and special kind of license. Your vehicle needs to be in good shape. I'm telling you, whatever vehicle that you drive, it needs to be check everything. You check your tire pressures, all the things that you're supposed to be checking anyway. Tire pressure, your your seatbelt, everything that's supposed to work. I mean, for you guys who may be afraid to drive your Maverick in the track attack, I will tell you, you only have to go as fast as you want to go. The track attack is designed to teach you driving skills. You're not going to be out there if you're not comfortable. And you can always come in anytime you want to. It's only going to make your driving skills better. I was kind of, this is not the Mach 1, but I'm telling you, the lowered Maverick that I have and my buddy Antonio, we had a blast driving in the track attack. And the video didn't do it justice. When I drive in something like that, I was at the mercy of my wife filming. God bless her heart, she did try, but the footage that she got was so shaky that it doesn't do it justice. But I can tell you this, my daughter I convinced to ride with me in that video, and on the backstretch we got up over 90 miles an hour in the straightaway. And I can tell you this, when I took the Mach 1 to that same track for a track attack, I think we got up to like 105. So yeah, the Maverick is a very capable vehicle, and it's not gonna, you have a pretty new Maverick. As long as all your stuff is in working order, you're not gonna hurt your Maverick, but you will improve your driving skills. So all of you guys who have tuned into this video, I'm sorry, I said it was gonna be short, but I tried to get in everything as quickly as possible. But I wanted you to know, yes, you are invited to the Maverick Track Attack. Come out and enjoy. I love to meet you guys. I love to talk some Maverick talk with you, and we will just have a great time. So I look forward to seeing some of you there. In the meantime, God bless you. Have a great week, and we'll see you on the next video.